The day had started like any other on the human freighter, Aurora Dawn. Children laughed and played in the common area, their small hands brushing over toys and drawings. The freighter was carrying 50 children, aged between 8 and 14, on a cultural exchange mission from one human colony to another. Teachers and chaperones moved among them, making sure everyone stayed safe. Among the adults was Linda Carter, a kind-faced woman in her mid-30s. She had been a teacher for nearly 10 years and had seen her share of mischief and chaos, but this trip promised to be different. The human children were excited. They were looking forward to seeing a new planet, to learn about other cultures, and to meet other human children from distant colonies. Their chatter filled the freighter with warmth, and for a while it seemed the universe itself had forgotten them. But the universe did not forget. Somewhere near the edge of the Tavares Prime system, a patrol ship appeared out of nowhere, its hull dark and angular, unlike any human ship. It cut through space like a predator, moving faster than the Aurora Dawn's sensors could track. The freighter's alarm sounded, a gentle but insistent warning tone that made children stop and look toward the walls, curious and unafraid. "Children, stay calm," Linda said, moving quickly to gather them. "This is just a patrol. Nothing to worry about." The freighter's captain, a calm man named Robert Lane, spoke over the intercom. "We've been detected by an unknown vessel, requesting identification." His voice was calm, almost too calm. There was a pause. Then a cold, unfamiliar voice answered through the comm system. It was harsh and clipped, words translated from an alien language into the freighter's systems. "You are in restricted space. You will submit to boarding and inspection. Resistance will be met with force." Robert's fingers tightened around the console. "We are a civilian educational vessel. No weapons, no threat. We carry only children and teachers. We request permission to continue." The alien voice was unmoved. "You will comply. Failure is unacceptable. Prepare for boarding." Linda's stomach tightened. The children sensed the tension. Some of the older kids looked frightened, while younger ones clung to each other or to their teachers. She walked among them, kneeling to speak softly. "We are safe, okay? Just follow the instructions. Everything will be fine." The patrol ship attached itself to the Aurora Dawn. Airlocks hissed, and robotic arms extended from the alien ship, gripping the freighter with a mechanical precision that made the children gasp. A transport hatch opened, and a team of tall, thin aliens with gray skin and long limbs boarded the ship. They moved quickly, efficiently, eyes glowing faintly, scanning everything. The leader, Zirak, a Tvaran commander with piercing eyes, stepped forward. His voice was sharp, translated instantly for the humans. "All occupants of this vessel will be detained. You are suspected of unauthorized activity in Tvaran space." Linda's eyes widened. "You're detaining children?" "These are school children on a cultural trip." Zirak's expression did not change. "Irrelevant. They are under our custody. You will follow." A murmur of panic ran through the freighter. Children clutched one another. Some began to cry quietly. Linda's heart ached as she tried to soothe them. Shh, it's okay. Don't worry. Stay calm, everyone." Robert Lane stepped forward. "You don't understand. These children are civilians. They are unarmed. You have no right to hold them." Zirak's glowing eyes narrowed. "Rights are irrelevant. Protocol is law. You will comply. Failure will result in destruction of your vessel and apprehension of all personnel." Linda swallowed hard. She knew arguing further could make things worse, but she also couldn't let the aliens simply take the children. "Please, there must be a way to communicate with your council. We can explain everything. They will understand." Zirak shook his head. "Council approval is unnecessary. All children will be taken to detention for evaluation." The transport drones began herding the children. Soft but firm energy barriers confined them into a separate room. Children screamed, some cried. Linda tried to reach them, but the barriers prevented her. She pressed her hands against the invisible wall. "Don't be afraid. We'll fix this. Stay together, help each other." The aliens moved efficiently, leaving no room for resistance. They scanned each child, tagging them with small, harmless-looking devices, marking them as detained. Linda's throat tightened. She had never felt so powerless. Once all the children were secured, the freighter was sealed, and the aliens began moving it toward the Tvaran detention facility. The journey was tense and silent, except for the occasional sob from a frightened child. Linda tried to keep their spirits up, telling stories about Earth. about games they would play when they returned, about how brave they were. Meanwhile, news of the detention had reached Earth. The United Earth Diplomatic Council convened immediately. Monitors showed the location of the Aurora Dawn and the Tvaran patrol ship. Leaders were shocked. Children, human children, imprisoned by an alien civilization. The thought alone caused outrage to sweep across Earth. On Earth, protests began outside embassies and news channels repeated the story over and over. Parents screamed in anger and disbelief. "How can they take our children?" One mother cried. "They are humans! You can't just do this." The human government tried to negotiate. Messages were sent, demanding the immediate release of the children. But the Tvarans, in their cold, logical way, refused. Security protocol is paramount. Human children pose a potential risk until evaluated. Compliance is mandatory. The news left humanity stunned. The Tvarans had never been hostile in previous encounters. They had always followed protocols, engaged in trade, and studied humans in peaceful ways. This sudden aggression shocked everyone. In the midst of this chaos, the Earth government appointed a single envoy. One person who could speak with authority and calm. That person was Captain Ethan Brooks. Ethan was not just a diplomat. He was a human known for his patience and steadfastness. His career had been built on tough negotiations and crises. If anyone could reason with the Tvarans, it was him. Ethan prepared for his mission aboard the diplomatic vessel, Silverlight. Beside him stood Lieutenant Nora Hayes, a skilled communications officer fluent in several alien languages. "Are you sure they'll listen to us?" she asked, concern in her voice. Ethan shook his head. "They may not, but they will have to consider the consequences if we act. Our children are not negotiable. They are humans. We don't abandon our own." As the Silverlight launched, Ethan looked at the children's faces on the holographic feeds. He felt their fear as if it were his own. Every parent, every human being on Earth felt the same. But he also felt a quiet determination. Humanity would not back down. Back on Tavares Prime, the detained children were moved into the cold, gray halls of the alien facility. Their laughter was gone, replaced by tears and whispers. Linda Carter stayed close to them, comforting and guiding them. "We will get through this. Stay brave. We are together and we will not be broken." Zarek watched from above, his eyes scanning the room. He had expected panic, yes, but he had not expected the humans to resist quietly. Even the children, though frightened, held on to each other. He frowned. Humans were strange creatures. They seemed fragile but had an unyielding spark. The facility itself was efficient but alien. Walls glowed with faint lights and doors opened with a whisper. Robotic drones patrolled constantly. Yet despite the intimidating environment, a strange calm began to settle among the children. Linda's courage gave them hope. Even when separated, they whispered to each other through the air vents, trying to stay connected. Outside the facility, the Silverlight approached Tavares Prime. The alien patrols detected it immediately. Sensors beeped rapidly, and alarms echoed through the Tvaran command centers. The arrival of a human ship sent a ripple of unease through the Tvaran Council. Ethan Brooks stood on the bridge of the Silverlight, looking at the planet below. He did not speak to the crew. Instead, he focused on the mission ahead. Peaceful resolution was his goal, but he knew humans were not to be underestimated. Protecting their children was a matter of life and honor. Somewhere inside the Tvaran facility, a child whispered to another, "Do you think our parents will come?" "Yes," another replied. "They always come, and they were right. Humanity never abandoned its own." The stage was set. A human freighter filled with terrified children, an alien planet rigid with logic, and a human envoy determined to remind the galaxy what it meant to protect your own. What would happen next? The galaxy was about to learn that humans, while often peaceful, could not be ignored when it came to their children. This was just the beginning. The diplomatic vessel Silverlight glided through space toward Tavares Prime. Its hull shimmered in the pale light of the distant sun. Inside, Captain Ethan Brooks stood on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. He watched the alien planet below, gray and cold, with cities that rose like sharp spires from the surface. For a moment, he allowed himself to imagine the children, locked in the facility, frightened and confused. Beside him, Lieutenant Nora Hayes monitored communications. Her fingers danced over the console, translating and interpreting messages from the Tvaran system. "Captain, they are aware of our approach. Sensors show patrol ships moving to intercept, but they are holding position for now. Ethan nodded. Good, keep it that way. We don't want to fight yet. Remember, we came to negotiate, not to attack. Nora hesitated. Do you think they will negotiate? They already ignored our demands. They will listen, Ethan said quietly. One way or another, they will have to listen. They underestimated us. They will learn. On Tavares Prime, the Tavaran Council convened in a chamber that seemed larger than any human could imagine. The ceiling arched high above, filled with glowing symbols that communicated thoughts across the room. Commander Zerak stood at the center, facing the council members. The arrival of the human ship had stirred unease. This is unexpected, said one counselor, a tall Tavaran with green-gray skin and narrow eyes. Why is the human vessel coming now? Do they intend to fight? Zerak's voice was calm but firm. They are diplomats. Their ship carries no weapons, but they will demand negotiations. The children are secure. We hold the advantage. Another counselor snorted. They are small, fragile creatures. They follow their own laws and traditions. Surely they cannot challenge us. Zerak's eyes flickered with something like doubt. Do not underestimate them. Humans have surprised us before. Proceed with caution. Back on the Silverlight, Ethan prepared for the first contact. He stepped into the communications room, where a large viewing screen displayed Tavares Prime's surface and the alien facility where the children were held. He took a deep breath and activated the translator system. This is Captain Ethan Brooks of the United Earth Diplomatic Council, he said, his voice steady and calm. We request immediate communication with the Varan Council regarding the detained human children. The screen flickered. A Tavaran face appeared, emotionless and sharp-featured. Captain Brooks, your arrival was noted. Your request is acknowledged, but your children will not be released until council evaluation is complete. Ethan's jaw tightened. Evaluation? They are children, unarmed and civilians. There is no justification for holding them. The Tavaran commander tilted his head. Justification is irrelevant. Protocol requires assessment. Compliance is mandatory. You may observe but may not interfere. Ethan pressed his lips together. He remained calm, but inside he felt a surge of anger. Observation is not enough. These are human children. If you harm them, there will be consequences you cannot imagine. We came to negotiate, but you must understand, we will not abandon them. The aliens did not respond immediately. Silence stretched across the screen. Then the Tavaran voice returned, colder than before. Threats are noted. They do not influence council decisions. Prepare to comply or leave. Ethan exhaled slowly. We will not leave until the children are free. This is not a negotiation. It is a demand for humanity. Nora looked at him nervously. Captain, the council is receiving your words, but they do not seem moved. Ethan's eyes were steady. They will be moved. Wait and see. They have underestimated humans for too long. Inside the detention facility, the children pressed themselves against the walls. Their small hands touched the cold surfaces, their eyes wide with fear. Linda Carter knelt beside a group of them. It's going to be okay, she whispered. We are going to get out of here. Someone is coming. A young boy named Tommy looked up at her. Will they hurt us? Linda smiled, though her heart was heavy. No one can hurt you if we stay together. Be brave. Trust each other. Elsewhere, some older children tried to keep their spirits up. They whispered jokes to each other and shared stories about Earth, trying to remember home and family. Their laughter was quiet, but it was there. Back in orbit, the Silverlight remained steady, showing no signs of aggression, yet its presence alone was enough to unsettle the Tvarans. Patrols moved around the planet, checking every sector. Reports reached the Council that the humans had deployed a fleet, not in attack formation, but in orbit surrounding the Tvaran system. Zerek's eyes narrowed. They have brought ships? Surely not for negotiation. They do not attack, said a counselor. But the display? It is arrogant. They are small, fragile creatures, yet they surround our system. Zerek's mind raced. Humans had always been peaceful, diplomatic. Yet here they were, showing strength and resolve that rivaled entire fleets. They are not to be underestimated. Keep the children secure. Do not engage. Wait for further instructions. On the Silverlight, Ethan continued to broadcast messages to the Tavaran Council. We came in peace, but humanity has its limits. You will release the children. You will respect life. That is not a threat, it is a fact. The Tvarans responded with silence. The council held a meeting debating what to do. Some members wanted to maintain their rigid protocols. Others feared a human response they could not counter. Arguments became heated. Meanwhile, Ethan initiated a secure channel to contact Linda Carter inside the facility. It was risky, but he had no choice.
"Linda, can you hear me?" "Yes,"
she whispered, her voice trembling. "We are all here, safe for now, but scared." "The children?" "I know," Ethan said. "Stay calm. They will not be harmed while I am here. Help is on the way." Linda's eyes filled with tears. "You don't know how much that means." "Thank you." Ethan turned to Nora. "Prepare for council interaction. If words fail, we will need another approach. But it will be peaceful." Nora nodded. "Captain?" "The children are showing signs of distress. Should we attempt direct communication with the facility?" "No," Ethan replied firmly. "Not yet. We must be careful. Any wrong move could provoke panic. Stay calm. Show strength without aggression." The Tvaran Council debated for hours. They had never dealt with humans like this. Other species had come and gone, either obeying or submitting. Humans were different. They spoke softly, calmly, yet their determination was unshakable. The council felt a mix of fear and confusion. Finally, after much deliberation, Zarak agreed to a limited negotiation. The captain may enter the council chamber. He may speak, but he may not touch the children or interfere with protocol. Ethan accepted. The Silverlight lowered a small shuttle toward the planet, which would take him to the Tvaran Council building. He looked out at the gray planet, thinking of the children. Every step he took mattered. Every word could change the outcome. On the ground, the shuttle landed smoothly. Ethan stepped out, his uniform crisp and his expression calm. He walked toward the towering building, which seemed to pulse with alien energy. Guards watched him, but did not stop him. Inside, the council chamber was enormous. Symbols of authority and power glowed faintly across the walls. The Tvaran councilors were seated in a semicircle. Zarak stood at the center, motionless. Ethan entered slowly, hands at his sides. He bowed slightly, a human gesture of respect, though unfamiliar to the Tvarans. "I come in peace," he said. "I ask only for what is right. Release the human children immediately." The chamber fell silent. Some councilors whispered to each other. Humans were usually compliant, yet this one stood firm. He radiated calm authority. A strange power the Tvarans could not understand. Zarak's voice broke the silence. "Captain Brooks, your words are noted. The council has rules. Children are under observation. They will not be released until the council decides." Ethan stepped closer, his gaze steady. "Then I will wait. But know this, humanity will not abandon its own. You may test us, you may underestimate us, but we do not give up on our children. You hold them now, but your actions have consequences you cannot measure." For the first time, some counselors shifted uncomfortably. They had always relied on reason, on protocol. Humans, however, relied on something else, something the Tvarans could not measure. Loyalty, compassion, fearless protection of their own kind. Ethan remained calm, but inside, a fire burned. He would not leave without the children, and the Tvarans would learn that humans were not to be trifled with. Outside, the galaxy began to notice. Other species were watching, sensing that something was changing. Humanity, usually quiet and diplomatic, was standing up. And this time it was not for trade or treaties, it was for their children. The stage was set for a confrontation unlike any the galaxy had seen. Words had begun the battle, but the outcome remained uncertain. One thing was clear. Humans had arrived and they were not afraid. The human fleet hovered silently in orbit around Tavares Prime. Ships of all sizes filled the starfield, glinting faintly in the dim light of the planet below. Not one fired a shot, not one made a threatening move. Yet their presence alone was enough to unsettle the Tvaran Council. Never before had humans displayed such precision, such calm strength. On board the Silverlight, Captain Ethan Brooks observed the Tvaran system through the viewport. His face was calm, almost serene, but inside his mind was focused entirely on the children locked in the alien facility. He had not slept for over 24 hours. He had not eaten. All that mattered was the safety of those children. Lieutenant Nora Hayes glanced at him nervously. "Captain, they are watching. I can sense unease in the council. The fleet is having an effect." Ethan nodded. "Good. That is the first step. Show them we are serious but remain calm. No rash moves. We came to negotiate, not to destroy." yet they must understand consequences. Inside the Tvaran Council chamber, the tension was palpable. Commander Zirak had called an emergency session after the human fleet's arrival. Several counselors argued loudly, their voices echoing against the high, glowing walls. "This is ridiculous," said one counselor. "They bring ships to our orbit, and yet they do not attack. What is their goal?" Zirak's eyes were narrow. "They are not attacking." "That is precisely the point. They are demonstrating power without violence. We cannot ignore them. Their patience is frightening." Another counselor hissed, "They are just fragile humans. Why should we fear them?" Zirak shook his head. "You do not understand. Humans protect their own. They do not fight for conquest, but for what they value. We are witnessing it now. Observe carefully." Back on the Silverlight, Ethan activated the communication channel again. The holographic feed displayed the council chamber. "This is Captain Ethan Brooks," he said firmly. "You can see our fleet in orbit. It is not here to attack. It is here to ensure that your actions do not harm human children. You have two choices. Release them now or face a response you cannot predict. We are patient but not unlimited in patience." The chamber went silent. The Tvarans had never seen diplomacy backed by power presented so clearly, yet so calmly. Zirak cleared his throat. "Captain Brooks, your display is noted. Still, our protocol requires observation. Children will remain in the facility until council assessment is complete. You may witness their evaluation but not interfere." Ethan's eyes did not waver. "Observation is not enough. These are children, not specimens. You have taken them from their parents, their schools, their homes. This is unacceptable. Humanity does not negotiate over the safety of its children. You must release them immediately." Some counselors shifted uncomfortably. They were used to humans following orders or submitting. But here was a human standing firm, calm yet unyielding. It was unlike anything they had encountered. Meanwhile, within the facility, the children sensed a change. Linda Carter gathered them in a small room, whispering encouragement. "Something is happening," she said. "They're coming to help us." A young girl named Sophie hugged her knees. "Do you think the aliens will let us go?" Linda knelt beside her, brushing a strand of hair from her forehead. "I believe they will. Humans never abandon their children. Someone will make sure of it." Elsewhere, a boy named Leo looked out the small viewport of the cell. "I see ships outside. They're big. They're humans." "Yes," Linda said softly. "Those are our people. They are here to protect you. Stay calm. Stay together." In the council chamber, tension was rising. Some Tvaran counselors argued that humans were overreacting. Others, more cautious, whispered that the display of power meant the humans would not be stopped easily. Zirak remained silent, watching Ethan's calm demeanor on the holographic feed. Finally, one counselor spoke with hesitation. "Perhaps we should consider their demand. They are small creatures, yet they act with precision. Their patience is unnerving." Zirak's eyes flickered. "We cannot act rashly. But note this. Humans have a strange code. They value loyalty, courage, and the protection of their own. That is what we are seeing. They are not like other species. They will not bend. They will not yield, and yet they do not threaten without reason." On board the Silverlight, Ethan continued to communicate. "We do not seek war. We do not seek revenge. We want only the children to be safe and return to their families. Humanity will not be provoked unnecessarily, but we will act if provoked. You hold the power to prevent further conflict. Choose wisely." The Tvarans could not ignore the fleet in orbit. Sensors showed hundreds of human ships in formation, all waiting, all ready. The calm determination of Ethan Brooks radiated through every word. Unlike other species, humans were unpredictable yet disciplined. They did not seek conquest, yet they could be dangerous when defending what mattered most. Inside the facility, Linda spoke to the children once more. "They are coming for us," she said softly. "I know it. Stay brave. Stay together. Remember, we are humans. We do not give up." Tommy, the small boy from before, whispered, "But what if they don't make it in time?" Linda took his hand. "They always come. That is who we are. Humanity never leaves its own behind." As hours passed, tension in the council chamber grew. The Tvarans debated again. Some argued for compromise, fearing the humans' loyalty and the fleet's presence. Others insisted on holding the children, citing strict protocol. The chamber was divided, voices raised, emotions flaring. Zirak finally spoke, his voice calm but firm. Enough. Captain Brooks will be allowed to witness the evaluation. No interference. That is the compromise we offer for now. The council will decide later. Ethan accepted the terms but made it clear he would not leave until the children were released. I will observe. But know this, we are watching. Humanity is watching. We will not forget any harm done here. The shuttle from the Silverlight descended toward the facility. Ethan, accompanied by a Tvaran escort, entered the building. The halls were cold and alien, walls glowing faintly with energy lines. The air hummed softly, a constant vibration that made humans uncomfortable. Yet Ethan walked calmly, every step measured, showing no fear. In the observation room, he finally saw the children. They were huddled together, some crying softly, some staring in fear. Linda Carter stood near them, doing her best to comfort them. Ethan's heart ached, but he remained composed. Zirak's voice came through the room's speaker. Captain Brooks, you may observe. Do not interfere. The children are under council protocol. Ethan's eyes swept across the room. He spoke softly but firmly so the Tvarans could hear. I am watching. Humanity will not forget this. Each child here is sacred. You have made a mistake, and mistakes have consequences. Release them and the error can end. Do not for a moment underestimate what humans will do to protect their own. Some counselors shifted uncomfortably, whispering to one another. Never before had humans spoken with such quiet authority. They had power, yes, but more than that. They had courage and a loyalty that could not be measured by weapons or fleets. Back on the bridge of the Silverlight, Nora watched Ethan through the communications feed. Captain, they seem shaken. Even Zirak looks uneasy. Ethan nodded. Good, let them feel it. Humans do not shout or demand. We act calmly, decisively, and with purpose. That is what they fear, the certainty of our loyalty and our patience. They underestimate us at their peril. Outside, the human fleet remained in orbit, silent and patient. The message was clear. Humanity was here. Not for conquest, not for war, but to protect what mattered most. Children were sacred. Humans would fight, negotiate, or endure, but they would never abandon their own. Inside the Tvaran facility, the children began to notice something. The air seemed charged with anticipation. Even the youngest felt the change. Linda smiled quietly, whispering, It's coming. Help is coming. Ethan Brooks remained calm, his gaze fixed on the children through the observation window. He knew the coming hours would decide the future of Tvaris Prime's relations with humanity. Yet he also knew something deeper. Humans, though small and fragile in appearance, had an unshakable strength that could not be measured by fleets or weapons. Their loyalty, courage, and determination radiated through everything they did. The galaxy would soon understand. Humanity had arrived, and this time, they were protecting what was theirs. The news of the human fleet surrounding Tavares Prime spread quickly across the galaxy. Other civilizations, previously distant observers, watched closely. It was unusual for humans to act this way. They were known for diplomacy, patience, and negotiation. But now humans were showing something different, a quiet, unwavering resolve. Inside the Galactic Council chambers, a group of representatives from various species gathered. The chamber was enormous, circular, with seats rising like steps. Holographic images of the Tvaran system and the human fleet hovered in the center. Kalor, the council chair, a wise and ancient alien with long golden appendages and deep amber eyes, addressed the assembly. This situation is unprecedented, Kalor said. Humans have never displayed this combination of patience and power. They are demanding the release of their children, and they have shown that they are ready to act if ignored. We must consider the consequences. A representative from the planet Varnus spoke up. Chair Kalor, the Tvarans have acted against protocol. They detained children, civilian children. This is morally wrong, even by our standards. Another voice from Slarin added, and yet they believe their rules justify this. They underestimate the humans. It is dangerous. Their arrogance may cost them dearly. Kalor nodded slowly. Indeed, the humans are unlike any species we have encountered. They value life, loyalty, and protection above all else, and they are not afraid to act for what they believe is right. Tavares may have made a grave mistake. Back on Tavares Prime, the Tavaran Council was in turmoil. Commander Zirak tried to maintain order. The humans will not attack immediately, he said. They are demonstrating patience. But we cannot ignore the fleet. It is a warning, and warnings must be heeded. A younger counselor with purple-gray skin snapped, Warnings? They are small creatures. What can they do to us? They have no real power here. Zirak's eyes narrowed. Do not mistake their size for weakness. Humans act for what matters to them. Today it is children. Tomorrow it could be anything else. Their loyalty is dangerous. Watch closely. They will not yield. In the detention facility, Linda Carter continued to calm the children. The humans are here, she whispered. They are doing everything they can to help us. Stay together. We will not be alone for long. A young boy, Ethan Jr., tugged at her sleeve. Will they fight the aliens? Linda shook her head. I don't think so, not yet. Humans fight when they must, but they try to find peace first. They will protect us without unnecessary violence. Meanwhile, Ethan Brooks remained on Tavares Prime, observing the children and the facility. His calm demeanor unsettled the Tavaran officers. He spoke softly yet with authority. I am watching. Each child here is sacred. You may believe that protocol allows you to hold them, but humanity does not accept that. We do not abandon our own. Never. Zirak stepped closer, his eyes flickering. You speak of humanity as if it is universal. You may be bluffing. You may threaten, but you will not act. Ethan looked at him calmly. I do not bluff. We have acted already. The fleet is here. The galaxy is watching. Your people will learn what it means to take human children. Outside the facility, Tavaran soldiers whispered among themselves. Some were uneasy. They had never seen humans act like this. Fragile, yes, but with an unshakable courage and loyalty that could not be measured. In orbit, the human fleet remained silent and steady. Not a single ship moved aggressively, yet their presence was a constant reminder. Humans were ready, humans were united, and humans would not abandon their own. The Galactic Council decided to intervene. Representatives arrived on Tavares Prime, hovering near the council building. They demanded explanations. Tavarans, Keylor said firmly, his voice echoing across the chamber. You have imprisoned human children. This is not just a local matter. The galaxy observes your actions. Release them immediately, or you will face universal consequences. Some counselors on Tavares protested. These humans are fragile. They cannot enforce threats. Keylor's gaze hardened. Do not underestimate them. Humans are patient, disciplined, and fiercely loyal. They have surrounded your system without aggression. But they will not wait forever. You have made a mistake. Correct it now. Inside the council chamber, Zirak was tense. The pressure from both the humans and the Galactic Council was mounting. His confidence wavered for the first time. He looked at his officers. We may have underestimated them. Perhaps we acted too rigidly. A senior officer whispered, Commander, the humans are unlike any species we have dealt with. They value loyalty and courage above all else. That is what terrifies us. Meanwhile, Ethan Brooks continued to observe the children. Linda, he said through a secure comm, you must keep them calm. I know it is frightening, but soon they will be free. Trust in humanity. Trust in our resolve. Linda nodded, her heart swelling with hope. Thank you, Captain. They trust me because I am here. They will trust you too. On the surface of Tavares Prime, the people began to notice something unusual. Citizens whispered among themselves. Have you seen what the humans have done? One asked. They are not attacking, yet the council trembles at their presence. Another replied, Yes, they are calm, patient, and strong. They fight when necessary, but they do not provoke. We have never seen such courage. Inside the council chamber, Zirak convened a private meeting with his advisors. We cannot hold them forever. The humans are unwavering. Even our own species questions us. Perhaps we should release the children before this escalates further. One counselor hesitated. Commander, releasing them would admit weakness. Protocol demands that we hold them. Zirak shook his head. Protocol is meaningless if it leads to war or chaos. We must act wisely. Humanity is not like others. They value life, loyalty, and justice. That is why they are dangerous. Back at the detention facility, the children sensed a change. Guards moved less confidently. The energy barriers seemed weaker, less rigid. Linda spoke to them quietly. Something is happening. You will be free soon. Stay brave. A small girl named Mia asked, Really? How do you know? Linda smiled gently. I just do. Trust in those who came to help us. Humans never give up on their own. Ethan Brooks, still observing from the council chamber, knew that the pressure was working. The combination of human presence, calm authority, and moral clarity was forcing cracks in the Tvaran position. He spoke softly but firmly. I am here. The galaxy is watching. You have two choices. Release the children peacefully, or face consequences that go beyond your understanding. Choose wisely. Some counselors turned to Zirak, their eyes wide. Commander, they are relentless. Perhaps we underestimated them. Their loyalty. It is frightening. Zirak nodded slowly. I see it now. Humans do not act without reason, yet they act with courage and precision. This is unlike any challenge we have faced. Prepare for a difficult decision. Outside the facility, human ships continued to hover in orbit. Other alien species watched from afar, murmuring among themselves. These humans, they are not like others. They protect what matters to them above all else, one whispered. Keylor, observing from the Galactic Council, spoke again. The lesson is clear. Humanity cannot be ignored. They value life, courage, and loyalty. And they act decisively when those values are threatened. Tvaris must release the children. The galaxy demands it. And if they do not, humans will act. And their strength will be undeniable. Inside the council chamber, Zarek made a final decision. His eyes, usually cold and logical, betrayed uncertainty. He spoke to Ethan Brooks. Very well. You may have the children returned. Protocol is secondary to the will of humanity. But know this, Captain Brooks, the Tvaran people, we have never faced humans like you before. Ethan's expression remained calm. That is all we ask. Humanity protects its own. Today, you have learned that lesson. Remember it well. Back in the facility, the doors opened. The children were free to leave. Linda Carter gathered them quickly, holding their hands and guiding them out. Their eyes were wide, filled with tears and relief. They had been frightened, but now hope had returned. As the children stepped out, the Tvaran officers watched silently. Some lowered their heads, realizing the humans had taught them an important lesson. Courage, loyalty, and protection of one's own were not weaknesses. They were strengths that even an advanced alien civilization could not ignore. Ethan Brooks stepped forward to meet the children. You are safe now, he said. Humanity never abandons its own. The children ran into his arms, crying and laughing at the same time. Linda smiled, knowing that the ordeal was finally over. For the humans, the lesson was clear. Protect what matters and the universe will respect your courage. Outside, the Galactic Council noted the outcome. Keylor spoke quietly. Humanity has reminded the galaxy of their strength, not through weapons, but through loyalty, courage, and resolve. The Tvarans will remember this day. And far above, in orbit around Tvaris Prime, the human fleet remained silent, steadfast and patient. Their mission was complete. The children were safe. Humanity had once again proven that its strength lay not in aggression, but in the courage to protect its own. The children stepped out into the open space of the Tvaran facility, blinking at the bright lights that now seemed less harsh than before. Their small hands clutched each other, and their eyes searched for the familiar faces of their teachers. Linda Carter guided them, whispering encouragement and smiling softly. You are safe now. We are free. Ethan Brooks stood nearby, his uniform crisp, his calm presence steadying the frightened children. Everything will be all right, he said. Humanity protects its own. That is a promise we always keep. Some of the children ran into his arms. Others looked around cautiously, still unsure if freedom was real. Tommy, the small boy who had asked earlier if anyone would hurt them, clung to Linda's leg. It's really over? He whispered. Linda smiled gently, brushing his hair from his forehead. Yes, Tommy, it's over. You are safe now. In the council chamber, Commander Zarek and his Tvaran counselors watched silently. The humans had not fired a single shot, had not used threats of violence beyond their calm words in the presence of their fleet. Yet their will had won. The children were free, and the Tvarans had no choice but to comply. Zarek's voice was quiet, almost reluctant. Captain Brooks, you have proven your point. Humanity is not what we expected. You value life, loyalty, and courage in ways we did not understand. Ethan's expression remained calm. That is correct. We protect what matters most. Today it was our children. You have learned this lesson, Commander. Remember it, some counselors murmured among themselves. They had underestimated humans. They had assumed that small, fragile beings could be controlled with logic and force. But humans acted differently. They acted with quiet determination, loyalty, and courage. And that had changed everything. Outside, the human fleet began to move in formation. signaling that their mission was complete. They had come to protect, not to conquer, and now they were ready to leave. Other species watching the events in real time whispered among themselves. Humans, one said quietly, they are not just strong, they are unyielding in their loyalty. They cannot be ignored. On the ground, Ethan Brooks guided the children toward the shuttle that would take them back to the Silverlight. Linda walked beside him, smiling through tears. The children were finally calm, some laughing softly, others hugging each other. Mia, the small girl who had been worried earlier, looked up at Ethan. "Thank you," she whispered. "You saved us." Ethan knelt to her level. "No, Mia, you stayed brave. That is why you are safe. Humans protect each other, and you did your part by being strong," Linda added. "And we all did. Courage isn't just in the soldiers or captains. It is in all of us, even children. You are heroes too." The shuttle lifted off, carrying the children back to the orbiting Silverlight. Inside, Ethan and Linda watched as the Tvaran facility shrank below them. The gray cold walls seemed less threatening now, almost as if the facility itself had learned a lesson about humanity. In orbit, the Galactic Council convened again. Kalor's golden appendages glimmered softly as he addressed the assembly. Today, humanity reminded the galaxy of something very important. Their strength is not in weapons, not in fleets, not in conquest. Their strength is in loyalty, courage, and the protection of those they love. The Tvarans have learned a lesson that cannot be ignored. A counselor from Slarin nodded. Indeed, they act with purpose but without unnecessary violence. They inspire loyalty and respect, even from those who have never encountered them before. We have underestimated humans for too long. Another voice, this one from Varnus, added, "We must adjust our understanding of humanity. They are not like other species. They do not yield when protecting what matters. This is a power the galaxy must respect." Back on the Silverlight, the children settled into their cabins, quietly talking and laughing. Some played games, others drew pictures of Earth and their homes. Linda walked among them, smiling. "You are all safe. Remember that. You are brave, and your bravery brought you through this." Ethan Brooks remained in the control room, observing the system. He had expected a long struggle, but humanity's patience and calm determination had made the difference. He looked at the holographic feed of Tvaris Prime, knowing that the Tvarans had been taught a lesson they would not forget. Lieutenant Nora Hayes approached him. "Captain, the children are calm. They seem happy. You did it. Humanity succeeded." Ethan shook his head slightly. "No, Nora. Humanity always succeeds when it protects its own. We did what was right. That is what makes us strong." Down on Tavares Prime, Commander Zirak addressed his officers. His voice carried authority but also a strange humility. "Today we saw humans act not with force but with courage, patience, and loyalty. We cannot measure their strength in weapons or technology. Their power is in what they protect, and they protect fiercely. Remember this," some officers whispered among themselves. "They did not fight, yet they won. We underestimated them. We must never do that again." Across the galaxy, word of the event spread. Species that had long considered humanity fragile began to take notice. Reports described the calm strength of humans, their loyalty to each other, and their courage in protecting those who could not defend themselves. On board the Silverlight, Ethan called a meeting with the children. "I want you to remember one thing," he said gently. "Courage is not about fighting. Bravery is not about strength or weapons. Bravery is about protecting what matters to you, even when you are afraid. Today you all showed that. Never forget it." The children listened, eyes wide. They had been scared, yes, but they had survived. They had seen humanity's strength firsthand, and they understood in a small way what it meant to be human. Linda spoke softly. "You are all heroes. Remember that courage does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers in the heart and keeps you moving forward." Today that whisper was heard across the galaxy. The Silverlight began its journey back to the human colonies. The children were safe, and humanity had once again proven a simple truth. Loyalty, courage, and the protection of one's own could overcome fear, protocol, and even a powerful alien race. Ethan Brooks looked out at the stars. "We came to protect our children," he said. "We did that, and the galaxy learned what humans are capable of, not because of weapons, not because of fleets, but because of loyalty, courage, and determination. That is the true strength of humanity." Nora Hayes nodded. "And it is a strength the galaxy will not forget." Back on Tvaris Prime, the Tvaran Council convened one last time regarding the incident. Zorak addressed the chamber. We have acted against humanity and learned a painful lesson. Their courage is unlike any other species. We will respect them, and we will remember that humans protect what they love. We have underestimated them before. Never again. On Earth and human colonies across space, celebrations quietly began. Parents were reunited with their children. Teachers and chaperones were praised for their calm courage. Humanity's reputation, already respected, had grown. The story of the children, the calm fleet, and the unwavering resolve of Captain Ethan Brooks spread across human networks. It was a story of courage, loyalty, and protection, the true strength of humanity. Inside the Silverlight, Ethan watched the children laugh and play once more. Linda stood beside him, smiling. "They are safe now," she said softly. "Yes," Ethan replied, "and humanity has proven that we will always protect our own. That is a lesson no one in the galaxy will ever forget." The stars stretched endlessly ahead, but humanity's place among them had grown stronger, not because of conquest, not because of war, but because of something far older and stronger: courage, loyalty, and the unwavering determination to protect what mattered most. And somewhere in the galaxy, the Tvarans and others who had watched understood for the first time. Humans were small, fragile in appearance, but unyielding in spirit. That day, humanity had reminded the galaxy that they could not be ignored, and they would not be forgotten.